It takes a commitment to being the driver, the passenger, and the mechanic to navigate this vehicle into uncertain territory. Territory that will test you, scare you, and at times have you question every inch of the journey, leaving you wondering if you're closer to your new home or just further away from your old one. All right, welcome back to Getting Sober, ... Again, my name is Jay, and today we are going to talk about you are not alone in sobriety. But first, make sure that you're subscribed by hitting the subscribe button down below, and make sure that you have all of your notifications turned to all, and give this video a big thumbs up before you forget. And don't forget to leave a comment for either me or one of our very helpful members of our community in the comment section down below. All right, let's get started with today's topic, which is you are not alone in sobriety. As an only child, an astrological Sagittarius, a Rooster in the Chinese zodiac, and an INFJ to the Briggs-Myers personality test, I have always identified as being a loner, which made it extra special to me when it was recently pointed out that this channel, Getting Sober Again, has one of the highest subscriber interaction rates for likes, comments, and shares amongst all of the channels on sobriety. We have what I've always been looking for personally, and that's a sense of community. I'm really proud of the work that we're doing here, and I especially love all of the comments and supports, not just directed towards me, but also of those of you who take the time to read other people's comments and reach out to one another while we undoubtedly experience anxiety, depression, fear, self-doubt, and loneliness on our journeys into sobriety. Though in our personal and professional lives we may feel alone, I want you to know that you have a place here. Regardless if you're on hour 7, day 7, or month 7, please take the time to reach out. And though I personally may not be able to reach you with additional words, somebody in this amazing community will. And though every YouTube channel on sobriety is special in its own way, you know that if you get one of these hearts from me, I took the time to read your comment, and I take pride in the fact that I'm one of the only YouTubers who takes the time to personally read every one of your comments, while my channel is still manageable in size. Your interaction with this community takes vulnerability and transparency, which we are also practicing in addition to our sobriety. Because remember, sobriety isn't a task or a destination, it's a lifestyle change and a journey. And on that journey, we will have to go down some new roads. Some new roads that may be dimly lit or still under construction. Some roads that look like a forest full of trees and you're the only one standing there holding an axe all by yourself. Sobriety takes discipline and a will to succeed. It takes time. It takes preparation, practice, and patience. It takes being supportive while you too need support. It takes being mindful of your feelings and the ability to allow yourself to experience new ones. Feelings that range from a single butterfly racing around your gut to panic likened to karaoke in front of a full crowd in your underwear. It takes a commitment to being the driver, the passenger, and the mechanic to navigate this vehicle into uncertain territory. Territory that will test you, scare you, and at times have you question every inch of the journey, leaving you wondering if you're closer to your new home or just further away from your old one. Which leads me to ask, when was the last time that you had faith in yourself? The definition of faith is to have complete trust or confidence in someone or something. And while we hope to be more hireable, more lovable, and more trustworthy, even to ourselves, we sometimes have moments of clarity to ask the right questions at the right times, like, why do we drink? Did we drink because we're stressed? Because we're happy? Because we're sad, angry, or to celebrate? Did we drink to have a good time, to have a better time, to pass time? Did we drink to fit in or to find a sense of community? Did we drink because we're lonely? Did we drink because we have an underlying and undiagnosed condition? Or is the answer D, all of the above? And before we start uprooting hypochondriac tendencies, the answer could also be none of the above. For some of us, we treat alcohol like a service animal, always there to keep our anxiety down and to help us navigate unfamiliar spaces. And I know not everyone's had the luxury of talk therapy or support groups, But that doesn't mean that you aren't suffering from a condition or conditions that may be closer to the root of the reasons why you drink. I know that for me personally, I said on many occasions that I went to the bar so I wouldn't feel like I was so alone. That even though I really didn't want to talk to anybody, I would have other people around me and at least be in the company of others. And of course, alcohol made me feel like being around others. As we know, the quality of the questions that we ask directly influence the quality of our lives. After going over some information from Brene Brown's book, Dare to Lead, link in description, it was pointed out that fatigue, which I experience a lot, is also symptoms of depression caused by loneliness. So naturally, this curiosity of my own behavior took me down a rabbit hole of self-psychoanalysis that I wanted to share with you. It brought me to ask a question: is there a phobia for loneliness? And the answer was monophobia. What is monophobia? Also known as autophobia, isolophobia, or eremophobia. Monophobia is the fear of being isolated, lonely, or alone. As a phobia, this fear isn't necessarily a realistic one. Though you may know that you're safe physically, you may still be afraid of strangers or intruders, being unloved, having an emergency and no help, or experiencing other unexpected events without assistance. Experts believe that monophobia is a part of a group of mental health conditions known as agoraphobic cluster. Agoraphobia is an acute fear of being outside or in a strange place. There are varying degrees of monophobia. Some people need a specific companion with them. Others need any other person to be in the same room, and others require someone to be in the house. This phobia can manifest in a variety of other ways, including fear of separating from one particular person, fear of being home alone, fear of being in public alone, fear of feeling alone or isolated, fear of facing a dangerous situation alone, fear of living alone, and lastly, fear of a sense of loneliness or solitude. Symptoms of monophobia, according to the American Psychiatric Association, include a list of specific criteria for diagnosing a phobia. One is an unreasonable or excessive fear triggered by a specific event or situation, like being alone. Another one is instant anxiety response that is not proportional to the danger or threat at hand. Another one being recognition that the fear isn't warranted or isn't in proportion to the situation. And another being avoidance of the situation whenever possible, extreme distress when in the situation, fear that it impacts the person's ability to go to school, work, or have a social life, fear that has persisted for longer than 6 months, and lastly, fear that is not the result of another disorder. In essence, a phobia is the fear or level of anxiety that lasts for a long time and has a serious impact on your quality of life. While most people have aversions to or dislike certain events, situations, or things, a phobia is more extreme and often requires professional help. Monophobia is related to other forms of social anxiety, as it is related to the way in which you connect to other people around you. What are some causes of monophobia? Phobias generate feelings of fear and anxiety so intense that they impact a person's daily life and routine. A phobia evokes a response of your body's fight or flight system, causing your brain to believe that you're in imminent danger. People can develop phobias of all kinds for a variety of reasons, including biological, which means neurotransmitters in the brain can react in unexpected ways to certain input, making your brain believe that you're in danger from a specific person, thing, or situation. Another example is genetic and family, which is a tendency towards high levels of fear and anxiety that can be inherited from a parent. Similarly, a child can witness family members' fear of a situation, like being alone, and may learn to fear the same thing. Another factor being environmental, which is trauma or experiencing an extremely anxiety-inducing situation of being alone, can also cause monophobia. While scientists aren't totally clear about what causes phobias like monophobia, many guess that these kinds of complex phobias are caused by a combination of these factors. Many times, though not always, phobias can be traced back in part to events or experiences in childhood. You might ask, how do you diagnose monophobia? A mental health professional can diagnose a phobia like monophobia. After diagnosing autophobia, monophobia, or isolophobia, a doctor can help you navigate the next steps in recovery. In the process of diagnosing monophobia, your doctor will likely ask you about your medical history and physical health. The doctor will need a description of the situations that bring your extreme anxiety. Your doctor or psychiatrist may use a test called Behavioral Avoidance Test, or BAT, to measure the intensity of your fear of or aversion to being alone. This is a tool that professionals use to assess the intensity of your fear or avoidance of something specific. So then this brings us to the treatment of monophobia. Like many other situational phobias, monophobia can be managed through psychotherapy. There are a few ways that a therapist might help you work through your fear of being alone. One of them being exposure therapy. This form of therapy is based on incrementally increasing the amount of time that someone is exposed to the thing or situation that they're afraid of. Exposure therapy has been scientifically and clinically demonstrated to help people overcome certain kinds of anxieties and phobias. Cognitive behavioral therapy, known as CBT, is a blend of two kinds of therapy, cognitive and behavioral. The concept is to identify problems or triggers and explore your rational thoughts and knowledge about the situation, as well as your emotional reactions. Disrupting harmful thought and behavioral patterns can be helpful in managing phobias. And last but not least, medications. There are a variety of medications that can be useful when managing phobias or the extreme distress that they can trigger. Anti-anxiety medications and sedatives can all be helpful in someone suffering from monophobia in different contexts. Each one of these kind of drugs must be prescribed by a doctor and used only under medical supervision. Remember, your mental health is important, and I want you to keep in mind that some things we can DIY, and some things may take more than a highly supportive YouTube community. I want to remind you that you are not alone. And it's been and continues to be my pleasure to be of service to you on your journey into sobriety. And with that, I want to wish you good luck on your journey. Stay blessed, and I will see you in the next video.